Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. Don't forget to leave a like, it helps out the channel and it's free. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. It's a kind of a crazy news day. I think you'll see in a little bit. The first part of this I thought was a joke. It's not a joke. That's actually what it is. Someone by the name of Fred Krueger. So that was the, for those of you who've never seen the movie before with Freddy Krueger, this guy has the same exact name. Somebody named Fred Krueger recently took to Twitter to share his highly optimistic forecast for Bitcoin, predicting that Bitcoin could hit a $1 million valuation. His projection hinges on the expectation that the U.S. Federal Reserve will be cutting rates. For those of you who somehow managed to miss it, I'm not really sure. Working forwards, we're getting a lot of price predictions recently. The idea is, the last couple of weeks, all the analysts are huddling together and basically coming up with the exact same numbers to a certain degree. The idea is, now grain of salt, that September and October are going to be the months to pay attention to. The time frame for when Bitcoin and the wider cryptocurrency market begins to not inch up, but basically push up a lot higher. The expectations across the board are that by November, we will have a $100,000 plus Bitcoin by November, and that by the end of the year, depending on which analyst you're looking at, they are quoting $120,000 to around $150,000 by the end of the year. On top of that, that was the before we got to the point where the stock market crashed, everyone ended up panicking and figuring out what was going on due to interest rates. It now looks like there is no certainty. No one from the Fed at this moment has said anything about the guarantee of an interest rate drop or whatever, even despite the good, air quote, inflation news that we got about a week or so ago, where basically inflation had dropped and everyone was like, cool, that's what the Fed has been waiting for, and therefore they can cut rates. People are predicting that if the rate cuts do happen, it's basically going to propel the entire market to unforeseen heights in the very near future, and then well into 2025. Krueger likens Bitcoin to a giant call option on inflation, suggesting that the crypto could serve as a hedge against economic instability. He posits that if the U.S. maintains low inflation over the next few years, Bitcoin could find itself valued between $150,000 to $300,000 US dollars. However, should the Fed cut interest rates, sparking higher inflation, Bitcoin could potentially soar to $1 million. And this is the question mark here because I don't know what the time frame is. Could potentially soar to $1 million within the next presidential cycle. Is that this year? Is that in 4 years? Who knows? Yes, once again, this can't be stressed enough. You think it's a joke. The analysts out there believe that and are saying that if interest rates get cut, or we hear that it's going to happen, the time frame now still stands at the 16th to the 17th of September. Basically, all markets begin to go bananas. But we're hearing a lot of $1 million Bitcoin price predictions. They're popping up all over again. And it's kind of a, if we get to $1 million per coin, it basically means that most of the world's economies and fiat currencies have kind of collapsed. So while I would love to see $1 million Bitcoin, the idea of it happening so soon, I mean, it's believable. You can kind of believe anything nowadays, but it's just more of a, we'll see. Yeah, very popular news by Fred Krueger. I kind of want to know how old this person is. Like, were they named before the movie or after the entire film? That's a very particular name to have. I was going to name some other names, but you know them. That's the Fred Krueger Bitcoin price prediction. And yeah, let's move on. This coin has also been in the news a lot lately. I don't know where it's coming from, but I like the bullishness. Not long after Michael van der Puppe shook up his altcoin portfolio, adding assets he believes will offer solid returns on investment. Following the recent crash, his peer, Ali Martinez, has focused on one particular altcoin that he said is about to melt faces. I don't know why that's so popular in the cryptocurrency space. People love to talk about melting faces a lot. I haven't really understood why. I mean, it sounds intense, but I don't get the appeal. The coin is Polygon-matic. He says if altcoin season kicks off, Polygon-matic will melt faces. I have a friend who is very, very into Polygon and Algorand. He thinks, and has for the last year and a half, and I was actually a little shocked because he told me how much he has of these coins, and I was like, whoa, you like really believe in these. Polygon has been popping up in, the last 3 weeks. It's maybe once or twice a week. It's not like an everyday thing, but it's popping up back in the news as like a, this coin could be a winner type of thing. Basically, he's saying that if everything goes well, if the bullish thesis is validated, blah, 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 he thinks that Polygon could go to $50 per coin by late 2025. $50 per coin from roughly around, I think it's like 36 cents or something like that. Polygon is, how do I say this? Polygon is basically everything that Ethereum said it would be a number of years ago. For those of you who've missed that. The upgrades that Ethereum said that they would have, that they would implement, are basically Polygon. Polygon during the 2020 and 2021 bull run kind of was like the shining star in this space. For those of you who don't remember, transaction fees on Ethereum went from $4 to $7 to $28. And in many instances, and I mean like the really weird crescendo, was when the Bored Ape Yacht Club metaverse was launching, or launched, and people were trying to mint it. I think there were people who were paying, I think like $1,500 for their transaction fees because it was on top of Ethereum. So people switched over to Polygon, and people were figuring out that Polygon had like 1 cent fees. And even during like crazy traffic, Polygon's fees were 2 cents. So Polygon was like, the golden child of the last bull run. As transaction fees on Ethereum slowed down, as the NFT market also slowed down along with every other market over the course of the last couple of years, Polygon really hasn't jumped back into the news. Going from 30 cents to $50, it kind of makes me want to empty my bank account just hearing words like that. I got some Polygon, I want to say 2021. I still have it, haven't sold it. I've been thinking about buying more. There's a couple of coins that did exceptionally well years ago that kind of make me want to get them again, just because I know that they have actual usage and that when a bull run happens, they're going to like shine again. But I mean, I think the previous all-time high for Polygon, I think it was like $2.40. $50 is like, that's a huge, huge amount of money. He says late 2025, but yeah, there's a lot of Polygon doing X, Y, and Z news and moving up to this and performing this way and making this much money. I don't know. I mean, I know I need to diversify a little bit more in general, just with a lot of altcoins that will do well, but $2.50 to $50 is, I mean, I can see $10. I can see 15. I kind of see 15. 50 is like the world is just revolving around Polygon at that point, but who knows? Literally, who knows? That's the Polygon-matic will melt faces, end quote. $50 in late 2025 news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in popular news, Japanese financial giant SBI has announced that it will promote the use of the XRP ledger in the Web3 community through a strategic partnership via its digital community arm. SBI, for those of you who have forgotten or don't know, is a gigantic Japanese conglomerate of companies, institutions, and banks. They partnered with Ripple back in 2016 or 2017. The CEO of SBI, I don't know if he's still the CEO, but back then, he posted, famous for posting on Twitter, XRP going to $10 per coin. What else was there? Yeah, SBI also created a crypto exchange where they're using XRP as the main trading pair, and there was something else that I'm also missing. They also announced recently that they were going to be using XRP as a form of transacting value across the Japanese banking system. So they're back with a digital vengeance, talking about Web3. Web3 is meant to be the next era and stage of the interwebs. Web 1 being like Windows 95 to Windows 98. You can send messages, you can send email, you can pay a lot for AOL and all these other things. Web 2 is meant to be social media, the new internet that we have right now, the thing that we're currently using. Everyone has a phone. People are buying headsets and this sets and things they put on their eyes to see things. Internet. Web 3 is meant to be decentralized, that no one controls it. It's a brand new world. It's a brand new life, that kind of thing. Metaverses and sending money around the world and crypto and yada, yada, yada. There were discussions 2 years ago about XRP basically being used for like Web3 products, but that was towards the end of the bull run. The expectation, for those of you who haven't caught on yet, is that basically if the stock market pumps, interest rates go down, and crypto pumps, what ends up always happening is that people basically look for other investments within the exact same space. And it's expected that Web3, DeFi, and NFTs are going to come back ripping and a-roaring, like really, like this is the expectation. And therefore, I assume this is why they're now announcing this before things really pick up. This information was provided in an official release communicated in Japanese, dated around the middle of this month. Through the strategic partnership, SBI aims to increase the opportunities for individual users to use the XRP ledger through the BTO3 Web3 community, hosted by SBI Digital Community, as well as to popularize the XRP ledger. BTO3 will be issuing NFTs on the XRP ledger and will provide support to users on how to purchase and trade NFTs on the XRP blockchain as well. Cool. Let's see where it ends up going. I mean, XRP, SBI, and Ripple have been holding hands and skipping through the flowers for quite some time. We'll see what this leads to, if anything ends up happening. This was also, of course, very popular news. Anything with Ripple and XRP, really back in the news. You don't understand. Like, you're not actually comprehending exactly how popular all of this is, especially now that the lawsuit is over and it looks like we can all move into a brand new digital age. We'll see what happens. I know that these coins will do well. And a side note, I do find it interesting, the idea of, no, never mind. Anyway, no, like it's not important, I promise you. I was thinking of Polygon Matic going from 30 cents to $50, but I haven't heard anyone say XRP going from like 50 cents to $50. That was all that was basically in my head. Cool. Let's see what happens. I'm interested to see if they end up having, I'm honestly shocked. This isn't a joke. I'm a little shocked that there already aren't a lot of NFT projects on the XRP blockchain, and also that there's not a lot of meme coins. I just assumed that people would have been making an egregious amount of meme coins on other projects, but yeah. That's the XRP Ripple SBI news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in the news, once again, for like the 18th time this summer, Metaplanet has announced that they have purchased Bitcoin worth half a billion yen. Yeah. So Metaplanet, for those of you who don't know, is a company who I think it was April, May, and sometime not too far away, announced that they liked Bitcoin. The Japanese yen was collapsing. They said, we don't like it a lot. So what we're going to do is going to start to buy Bitcoin as a hedge. And since then, they've become otherworldly popular and they're always in the news. They announced a couple days ago, I don't remember, that they were going to be, I think selling off stock to buy some Bitcoin. And the amount that they were trying to raise was 1 billion. And now we're getting the news of the actual transaction. Yeah. The 57.1 Bitcoin was acquired for around 3.3 million US dollars. The company's total holdings have reached 303 Bitcoin, with an average price of around $65,000 per coin. This purchase once again highlights Metaplanet's strategy to increase its presence in the cryptocurrency market. I saw an article and I was like, what? Somebody wrote an article and it was like, can Metaplanet catch up to MicroStrategy? And I was like, no. And even here, I hate when people do this. They put a dot as opposed to a comma. So for those of you not looking at the screen, it looks like Metaplanet has 303,000 Bitcoin. No, it's 303. It should be comma 09. But alas, yeah, they have 303 Bitcoin. Not a small amount at all. It's actually a gigantic amount of money. However, MicroStrategy also has, I think, 235,000 Bitcoin. Metaplanet is nowhere near remotely. They don't even have 1,000 Bitcoin yet, catching up to them. So I assume they eventually will. But at that point, we can only assume that MicroStrategy is going to have over 300,000 Bitcoin, which is a lot of Bitcoin for anyone or any entity to have. But, you know, I digress. Yeah, popular news. Once again, people are liking it. People are liking this news of them having Bitcoin and them buying up Bitcoin and Bitcoin. Cool. I hope it works out. I hope Bitcoin goes to $1 million and everyone's like, oh my gosh, I should have also been buying some Bitcoin. Not in that exact voice, but you understand. That's the Metaplanet news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in the news, Into the Block has said that the recent data on Bitcoin and its new addresses could suggest renewed interest from retail investors. If you remember the last 5 months plus, the news that we've been getting is apparently everyday normal people aren't paying attention to the cryptocurrency market anymore. I personally logically assume it's because the world's on fire. Like, people are losing their jobs. People are scared. People aren't willing to move as much money as possible around. And this is part of the hype around the idea of interest rates being cut. But over in that same exact period of time, we've mainly seen whales and very rich people buying Bitcoin. It's been constantly in the news. And we heard from a number of on-chain analytical companies who basically were like, all the buying is happening from rich people. All the selling is happening from normal people. So we can only assume, partially logically, that normal people, now hear me out here, who are like losing their jobs or worried about rent or, going through normal things, are probably selling off the coins that they have to stay afloat or to pay their rent. Everyone's circumstance is usually extremely different. However, since November 2023, the number of daily new addresses has trended downward, a bearish signal indicating fewer new participants, particularly on the retail side. They said, however, the trend seems to be shifting, with the number of new addresses trending upward in more recent weeks. According to the crypto analysis platform Glassnode, the number of new addresses for 2024 hit a low of 203,000 in the 7th of June. Now, this needs to be said. If that was the low, that's still quite spectacular. The lowest point was one day we had 203,000 new people enter the market. That doesn't seem too bad unless I can't count. But since the start of August, the number of new Bitcoin addresses has hovered between 286,000 and 337,000 at the highest. I feel like that's still something to celebrate. This feels very similar to the entire Ethereum ETF thing, where 100 million goes into the ETFs and then they have an outflow of 8 million and everyone's like, oh no, there was an outflow. If we only had 30,000 new people per day, that's an incredibly large amount of people. Think of that. Imagine you have a stadium and or a city. Imagine you own a city and 30,000 new people moved in every single day. Now imagine 203,000 people moved into your city you'd be doing just fine. Anywho, yeah, we've heard this has been a while now. The entire idea that retail's just not here, it logically makes sense. Sometimes, myself included, you don't really think macroly about everything that's actually happening at the exact same time. The last 3 years have been rough for a lot of people. I know sometimes we have tone deaf individuals, like the people who run the Fed, who are like, why is everyone so upset? I don't understand. Everyone's getting fired. What's the problem? Which they also did actually say a couple of months ago. But then you also kind of think, well, yeah, most retail investors, they even left the stock market. If you haven't been paying attention to the investor trends in newsletters and stuff like that, retail has kind of fled everywhere. People are what was it? Oh gosh. This was maybe a month ago, maybe even less, where we heard that these 7 mega companies were planning on letting go 10 to 15% of their workforce. Now, let's be completely honest. If I was working at one of those companies or any company and I had an indication that I had a 10 to 15% chance of being fired, the last thing on my mind would probably be cryptocurrencies. But it's also a shame because these are the people who would be able to benefit the most from being in crypto. But I guess it's a bit of a gigantic catch-22. I don't really know. I'm seeing so many. I'm trying not to trail off, but there's so much happening in the world at the exact same time. I'm seeing so many videos again of people being like, I can't pay rent. I can't do this. There was a video I saw. Oh my gosh. I saw this video of this woman. She said she had 5 jobs Because every single company or every single place that she goes to try and get a job, no one's hiring full time. They're only hiring part time for everyone. So they will not give her 40 hours. And none of them will offer 39 hours. So basically they've hired about like 4 times as many people as the company would normally do, but they're only giving everyone 8 to 9 hours per week for like multiple, like it's insane. So she was saying she has 5 jobs and she was like, I don't know like what I'm supposed to do. I think she was maybe like just under like maybe 29 and she was like, it can't go on like this forever. Like this can't be like my legacy. This can't be I don't know. It's all kind of very, very weird at the exact same time. Now listen, this is tinfoil hatty. But I try not to think that it's all by design, but a lot of life has kind of taught me that it is. I don't think it's weird, or rather, I don't think it's random. Random's the word. I don't think it's random that entire thing happened years ago with Robinhood and like, you know, them allegedly stopping like trading activity when people, like normal people, were making tons of money from shorting, from Dogecoin, and just from the market in general. And it seems like this is maybe why we have so many people now who are like buying up huge amounts of crypto. It's because, once again, as the news has said, the only people who are selling are retail. So I guess they see that this is kind of rich people. This is kind of the turning point that they have to be able to acquire a large amount of Bitcoin and crypto at extremely low prices because they can and other people can't. I don't know. I mean, it's not, what's the word? It's not out of, you know, logic or, you know, out of the world to think something like that. But you all feel it, right? Like something is like incredibly off, especially as we see this like hyper consolidation of rich people buying up all the assets around the world. It is something to pay attention to. But the problem is that most people aren't paying attention to it, especially people in the crypto space. Seeing all this news of all these people buying it. Anyway, however, silver lining, new people are getting into the market. I hope that when prices go up, that these people also benefit as well. That's the point of the space, for normal people to get into it and escape the old slimy system. Yeah, I do think that is going to do it for this video. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for liking, subscribing, watching, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.